So today in this video we will discuss about human eye. This is human eye. This is the most sensitive and the most important part of our body. We can see all the world around us from this organ only. This is human eye, and today we will discuss about the structure of human eye as well as the parts of human eye in detail. So let's start the video. So this is human eye. We can see that this is human eye, and the transparent part, this part, the front part of this eye is called cornea. The colored part is iris, and this black part is pupil. So we will discuss the internal parts of eye in this video, and we will discuss these parts also in detail. We will discuss the structure of human eye by a diagram. The very first part of human eye is cornea. It is the front part of eye. It is a transparent sheet which covers the eye, and it is a protective layer, and it is bulging outwards. The cornea is the most important part of eye, and when a person donates his eye, actually he donates the cornea of his eye. After the death, within 6 hours, we can donate the cornea. This is cornea, the very first part of eye. It is transparent. And after this, after cornea, we will discuss about the second part, that is iris. Iris is the colored part of eye. We have different colors of our eye. Some have blue color, some have black, brown. So these colors are because of iris. Iris is responsible for our color of eye, and it is also responsible for the movement of pupil. But before understanding iris properly, we should know what is pupil. There is a hole in the middle of iris which is called pupil. Pupil is dark because no light enters in this area. But still it is very important, because when the light enters in the eye, the pupil controls the amount of light so that our eye should not damage. The iris controls the size of pupil, and then the pupil used to become large or small so that the proper amount of light can enter our eyeball. Now you can see how the pupil controls its size by the help of iris. The iris controls the size of pupil so that proper amount of light can enter in the eye. Now I think you are thinking that when the pupil used to control its size, change its size from small to large. So let me clear that when the amount of light coming from the object is in too much amount, then the pupil used to become small so that equal amount of light can enter the eyeball. And when the amount of light coming from the object is small, like in a dark room, if we are in dark room, the pupil used to become large so that proper amount of light can enter the eyeball. So this is about pupil. This is the pupil. This is a dark hole. I cleared you that pupil is dark because no light enters in this. It controls the amount of light only. No light is present in this area, and this is our iris. After pupil, you should know that there is a hollow part between iris and the cornea, and this hollow part is filled with a fluid that is called aqueous humor. It is also very important. So you all know that our cells used to get their nourishment and their nutrients from blood. The blood supplies all the nutrients to all our cells, but there is no blood in cornea or iris, and cornea is a very important part of our eye. It is very important that cornea should get all the nutrients necessary for it. So aqueous humor used to give all the nutrients to cornea, and our eyeball can work properly, so it is necessary that this fluid is present in our eye, and this fluid is also responsible for the moisturing of our eye. As you know that our eye is not dry, it is moistured because of this fluid only. Now, after aqueous humor, there is a lens in our eye called crystalline lens. As you know that human eye is like a camera, and a camera has lens, a very important part. So our human eyes also consist of a lens called crystalline lens. It is a convex lens and it is made up of a transparent, soft and flexible material like a jelly made of proteins. So it can change its focal length, and the ability of lens to change its focal length for see distant and near objects is called the power of accommodation. And for this also another organ is there, that is ciliary muscles. Ciliary muscles used to contract and relax for the movement of lens. These are attached to lens, and when the object is very far from us, they used to contract. They used to stretch them, and the lens used to get thin and large. And from that we can see the far objects. And when the object is so near or somehow 25 centimeter from us, so the ciliary muscle used to relax and the lens used to get short, and we can see all the near objects clearly. So this is about ciliary muscles and lens, and the function of lens and ciliary muscles is very important for seeing the distant and nearby objects. And this function, this ability of eye to change its focal length according to the object is called power of accommodation. After all these parts, the most important part of eye is retina. Retina is a screen on which image is formed in an eye. The retina is like a delicate membrane having a large number of light sensitive cells called rods and cones. Now, rods and cones. Rods are those cells which are responsible for the intensity of light. If there is less amount of rods in our retina, so we will not see all these light coming from the object. And as well as rods, cones are also very important. Cones are the cells which are responsible for the intensity of color. We can see all the colors red, green, blue, yellow from these cones only. If there is less amount of cones and no amount of cones, then the eye can see black and white only through the rods, because rods are responsible for the intensity of light and cones are responsible for the intensity of color. And one more thing, if anyone have less amount of cones in its retina, so he or she will not able to see the colors properly, and that defect will called color blindness, because the color blinded person will not see the colors properly. It will see only black or white. So the proper amount of cones as well as rods are very important to present in our retina. One more thing, the image which is formed on the retina, it used to form inverted, real but inverted. Inverted means like a person is like this and on retina it will look like this. This is inverted. So, how can we see all the objects, persons clearly? Right, with the help of one more organ, which is optic nerve. Optic nerve, it is a nerve which used to connect it from brain. It used to send signals from retina to the brain, and the brain interpret the image, and we can see the person correctly, not upside down. So if there is any damage in our optic nerve, so it is very difficult for us to see all the images, all the objects. So optic nerve is also very important. After optic nerve, I will tell you one more thing, that there is a liquid in between retina and the eye lens, the hollow part. So this hollow part is filled with a liquid called vitreous humor. Remember that the part which is hollow between cornea and the iris is filled with aqueous humor, which is responsible for giving nutrients to the cornea, and this part which is hollow between the lens and the retina is vitreous humor. It is responsible for the spherical shape of our eye. Our eye is of a spherical shape, and the vitreous humor is very important for maintaining the shape of our eye. So this is the vitreous humor, and there is one part which is left in this diagram. Is blind spot. Blind spot, where it lies, the optic nerve enters the eyeball, and the optic nerve, where the optic nerve enters the eyeball, that area is called blind spot. Why it used to call blind spot? Let me clear. It's blind spot because it is insensitive to light. Insensitive to light because it is not sensitive to light. It can't sense the light. So it is called blind spot. This is the overview of diagram of human eye. You can see the crystalline lens, the aqueous humor, the pupil, the iris, cornea, optic nerve, retina, ciliary muscles, and the area from which the optic nerve used to enter the eyeball, the blind spot, and the vitreous humor. So from this, the topic of structure of human eye is over.